What is up? What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, another one bites the dust. Another coach in the WNBA has gotten fired in this offseason. This puts the number at 41% of the WNBA's coaches have been fired. There are 12 teams in the WNBA. We have had 5 teams fire their head coach. So yeah, 41%. That's a whole lot. So let's get into what specifically just happened today. A decision which I'm actually a little bit surprised about because I thought it would have came sooner if it was going to come, but it is now here. It is now here, guys. Latricia Trammell has gotten fired from the Dallas Wings. Now, guys, this is information that was broke by the Next Hoops. Shout out to Howard Megdal for doing a great job reporting about the WNBA. And so yeah, let's get into it. I'm sorry, it's five WNBA 5 WNBA teams have fired their coaches. 5 WNBA teams. It was 4, and then today made it 5. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, let's get into the interestingness of what's happening in the WNBA. All right. What is happening in the WNBA? I'm sorry. Actually, no. It was 4 coaches. Because guys, we already know. We saw Latricia Trammell got fired today from the Dallas Wings. We already saw that Teresa Weatherspoon got fired from the Chicago Sky. We saw that Kurt Miller got fired from the LA Sparks. We saw that Tanisha Wright got fired from the Atlanta Dream. And now today, Latricia Trammell has gotten fired. This is a epidemic, it seems like, in the WNBA, where every other day something's happened to somebody. Somebody's getting fired. And I want to talk through why I believe that Latricia was fired, and we're going to walk through the Dallas Wings, her record, all that stuff. So that's what we're going to do in this live stream. Thank y'all so much for joining. I don't really do live streams, especially during the day like this. But I took off today, so I have time. Okay, so we are going to do this. Okay, so let's talk about Latricia Trammell's record. So Latricia Trammell first started her WNBA career as an assistant coach. She was the assistant coach for the San Antonio Stars in 2017. And she did 1 season with the San Antonio Stars. Then in 2019, she became an assistant coach for the LA Sparks. She stayed there for a long time. So she stayed with the LA Sparks for a long time. And then in 2023, she was announced as the new head coach for the Dallas Wings. Now, when we talk about Coach LT, which is her nickname, we talk about her being a sort of players coach of sorts. She's a very passionate coach. She's a coach that was really trying to foster a relationship with players. And we saw it in 2013 or 2023, her first season with the team. We saw a lot of success. That year, the Dallas Wings were fantastic. We saw them have 22 wins on the season, 18 losses. They were pretty high up in the playoffs. One of the things about the Dallas Wings in 2023 that was huge, yes, they had a new coach. So it was a mix of a lot of things, right? You had a new coach. You had Satu Sabally finally be healthy and have a fantastic year for Satu Sabally. We saw Arike Gumbawale have a really good year as well. And those were your 2 cores, right? Those are 2 cores. And once we saw success with them, the team started winning games. And Dallas, they ended up losing they made it to the playoffs, ended up losing to the Las Vegas Aces as they went on to win another WNBA, their first actually WNBA championship. Second, I should say. We saw a lot of success in that first year for Coach LT. We saw a lot of success, and it was like, okay, All right. Let's see how she does in year 2. Year 1, she was a coach that actually got 11 votes for Coach of the Year. Ultimately, in 2023, Stephanie White, the head coach of the Connecticut Sun, ultimately she won the Coach of the Year in we saw. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by the comments. I'm sorry. We saw her find a lot of success last year. Latricia Trammell, and this year it was like, okay, how can you build off of the success that you had? You saw a career year for Satu Sabli. We saw Arike Gumbawale still doing her thing. You had other players sort of being able to step up and make stuff happen. We still saw that they decided to keep Kalani Brown and the Tierra McCowan sort of twin tower type of deal going. And it was like, okay, what are you going to do next year? Let's see what 2024 has to offer for the Dallas Wings. And unfortunately for the Dallas Wings, there was nothing good that really happened this year. We saw this team deal with injuries even before the season started. We saw the news that Satu Sabli was hurt in the offseason and she was going to miss the first half of the year, which in a lot of ways really did just sort of start off this team on a bad footing. This team was on a bad footing real quick because you had, I would say, probably one of your best players get hurt, right? Arike Gumbawale has a decent season, but not that great. You saw a lot of not so good play. We saw the Dallas Wings sort of get destroyed in games where they really shouldn't have gotten destroyed. We saw them have to deal with just a lot of injuries. We saw Maddie Segrist, who was coming into her second year this year. She dealt with some injuries, right? Satu played 15 games. Maddie Segrist played 27 games. Natasha Howard, who said she's not returning, who basically has said she's not returning to the team. She only played 27 games. This is a team that had to have a couple of hardship players throughout the year to sort of make do, right? We saw Odyssey Sims on the team for a good while. She ultimately, she was on several hardship contracts, but there were league rules that prevented her from actually getting a rest of the season contract with the Dallas Wings. So that's why, it's partially why she, left and went somewhere else to finish out the season. This was a team that was just in upheaval. They turned over the ball constantly. They were not whereas last year they got a lot more discipline, or whereas 2023 we saw a lot more discipline from this team. 2024 that was out the window. Turnovers galore, not good defense, not an efficient offense, and it was clear that Latricia Trammell, while she had a great first season, this year was terrible for her. It was absolutely terrible for her. And then, they finished the season. How bad? 9 wins, guys. 9 wins. Yeah, B-Girl, Monique Billings was on the team as well. 9 wins for this team. 9 wins, 31 losses for the Dallas Wings. The same team that won 22 games in 2023. So, with that information, Greg Bibb, the president of the Dallas Wings, he thought about it. And he was like, you know what? I think we need to move on. And that's exactly what he is doing. The Dallas Wings have fired Latricia Trammell as of today, as reported by the Next and Howard Megdal. They are also going to be looking for a GM as well. So they'll be hiring for both GM and coach in this offseason. And it's a lot. It's a whole lot. And let me kind of walk through why I specifically think that Latricia Trammell was fired. And I would love to hear what you all have to say about it. The days of coaching and being a long-term thing is sort of gone, especially when it comes to professional women's basketball. Coaches are not given time anymore. You all know, if y'all follow this channel, y'all know I have a particular philosophy that new coaches that go to a different team needs at least 3 years to really tell what they can do. Those days are gone. Coaches are not getting 3 years. Latricia Trammell got 2. Kurt Miller got 2. Tanisha Wright, she got 3. Teresa Weatherspoon got 1. So teams are moving on because they want to win now. They don't want to wait 2 years, 3 years. They don't want to wait. Latricia Trammell, she performed very well in 2023, but 2024 was a dumpster fire for the Dallas Wings. It was an absolute dumpster fire. The team floundered. They didn't look good. They looked bad on offense, bad on defense. They had no real philosophy of how they were going to play offense and defense this year. They dealt with so much transition with injuries and whatnot. And yes, injuries are not the coach's fault. However, it is what it is. It is what it is. You can't control who's going to be healthy and whatnot. But at the end of the day, coaches are expected to win, regardless of the personnel. Clearly, that is the standard that WNBA teams and front offices seem to be making now. They don't care about injuries. Clearly, they don't. And so that's the thing. That is absolutely a thing that we all have to just get used to. It's a new day. It's a new day, guys. Thank you so much, Stern, aka Chris, for the super chat. Says, how hard is it to hire a coach from college with the season underway? It's extremely hard. Well, kind of. I mean, the college season technically hasn't started yet. It starts in November. We're in preseason right now. It's pretty hard. But also, college coaches, if you're a head coach at a good team in college, you're not leaving to go to the WNBA. You're not. We saw Nikki Collins leave the Atlanta Dream and go on over to Baylor because college is a way better coaching situation when it comes to women's basketball. Way better than the WNBA. And so college coaches, if you're a head coach at a D1, either a really good mid-major or a Power 5 school or Power 4 now, you're not leaving to coach in the WNBA. You're not. So that's a little side note. I'm going to talk more about that in a little bit because it's a lot of reasons why college is just better for women's basketball coaches. It's just way better in college. All right, let's continue on. The team overall needs a revamp. When we look at this Dallas Wings team, and I want to go through I want to go through the Dallas Wings roster and sort of talk about their players because they need an overall revamp. And if you're a team that needs a revamp, you might as well just revamp the coach as well. Get a coach that fits more to your philosophy, and that way you can really hit the ground running. And that's something that the Dallas Wings need. They need to sort of change their style. Right now, we see a lot of players on this team. Let's sort of go down the list real quick. The best player on the team for that's likely staying is Arike Ogunbowale. Arike Ogunbowale is under contract for next season. She will be a free agent in 2026. And she's a great player. So if you want to keep her, she likely wants to be on a winning team. And so you got to give her a good enough product for her to want to stay with your squad. We have Natasha Howard, who has basically said she's not returning. Natasha Howard, she put out on social media sort of thanking the Dallas Wings fans and whatnot. She's not returning. She has basically stated that on social media already. Tierra McCowan is signed for next year, but I wonder about whether or not they trade her or they keep her or what the exact situation is from that standpoint. Satu Sabali is a unrestricted free agent in 2025. She is a unrestricted free agent, and They can core her, but I don't know if they core her, would she do like a Elena Delle Donne thing and say, hey, you know what? You cored me. I don't want to play for you, so I'm leaving. I'm not gonna sign the contract. I'm not gonna play. Like, I don't know if she returns. I don't think she returns to Dallas, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Kalani Brown is also signed to the team for next year as well. Awakwir is technically on contract, but her contract was suspended. And so we'll see if she actually plays for the team. We also have Maddie Siegrist, JC Sheldon, and Lou Lopez Sinisal on the squad for sure for next year. Stephanie Soares as well. Jaylen Brown probably doesn't return to this team next year. Same for Sevgi Uzun. Possibly not, but we'll see. So that's kind of the situation. The Dallas Wings are in full revamp mode, in my opinion. The only player that should be guaranteed a spot is Arike Ogunbowale. And Greg Bibb, his job is to build around Arike. Really build around Arike. Not just, oh yeah, let's hodgepodge something together and let's see what works. No. Really build around Arike and see ultimately what happens, guys. A thing to note is that Dallas is in the lottery for 2024. It is a possibility that Dallas will have the number 1 pick. They're in the lottery, and they also have a pick swap with the Chicago Sky. So basically, they have 2 chances to get the number 1 pick. And if they get that, and they likely get Paige Beckers, you want to hit the ground running with that new lottery pick you get, right? If it is Paige Beckers, it makes sense that Greg Bibb is like, you know what? Let's get a new coach, new playing philosophy. Let's get a new GM in the building, and let's build into a fast-paced, high-efficiency team. That's what I think Greg Bibb is doing. That's what I think is happening. They have to revamp. What Dallas is doing is just not working. It's not. And is it all Latricia Trammell's fault? No, it's not. She had a lot of injuries, a lot of stuff not under her control. However, it is what it is. It is what it is. Either you win or you don't. And if you don't, you're probably going to get fired in the WNBA. Because guys, let's look at the list of teams that are hiring, right? The immediate needs right now is the Atlanta Dream, who fired their coach. They're looking for a new coach right now. We got the Chicago Sky, who fired their coach. They're looking for a new coach right now as well. Right? You got the Dallas Wings that are looking for a coach and a GM. And you got the LA Sparks that's looking for a coach. The thing to note about these teams is that they were all kind of just hanging at the bottom of the league this year. Right? They were all kind of just down there looking at everybody else up top. There is only one coach that had a less than 18 win season and still has his job. And that's the Washington Mystics. So the Washington Mystics and Tebow, like the only coach that has not lost his job. That's interesting, right? That is very, very, very interesting. That he's still there. He's all good. Nothing's going on with Eric Tebow. Eric Tebow has been with the Washington Mystics as their head coach since 2022. His dad, Mike Tebow, is the general manager of the Washington Mystics. He is the only coach that has lost less than, that has won less than 18 games that still has a job. Everybody else has been fired this year, right? The LA Sparks, they won 8 games this season, fired the head coach. Dallas won 9 games this season, fired the head coach. Chicago won 13 games this season, fired the head coach. The Atlanta Dream won 15 games, did make the playoffs, but they also fire their head coach. So that's I'm just saying, Eric Tebow is the only head coach that still has a job, and his dad is the GM. So yeah, he probably is definitely getting the benefit of the doubt because of that. But it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, we have 4 coaches that are out of a job this year. So 33% of the WNBA. The 33% of WNBA teams have fired their coaches. And we'll see ultimately what happens. We did have 5 WNBA teams looking for a new head coach. But we saw Natalie Nakase, the assistant coach for the Las Vegas Aces. We saw her get the head coaching position with the Golden State Valkyries. And so, yeah. Another thing is to note, I don't have this on the list because it is not official just yet, but it does seem extremely likely that Coach Stephanie White is out with the Connecticut Sun. It does seem extremely likely that she's out. It's just that has not been official yet. All right. So likely we're going to see that news come very, very soon. And then we'll be at 41% of head coaches leaving their teams. So yeah, crazy upheaval in the WNBA. And also a thing to remember is they're still looking for head coaches and GMs for the new expansion team in Toronto and Portland. So in the next 2 years, we will see at least 6 new head coaches for WNBA teams. At least 6, likely more, but yeah. What a time to be a head coach. What a time. Guys, what a time. Now, if you all are like, hey, who could be interested in getting these roles? Like what's going to happen with that? Like who could possibly want to get this job as a WNBA head coach? Because again, guys, remember, when we talk about head coaches in the WNBA, like, it's a fleeting type of job, right? You don't, it is not guaranteed just because you're hired in. And we see the coaches, we see the front office and whatnot. They're like, oh, this is the coach of the future. We're so excited they're here and blah, 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 blah. It's all lies, guys. It's all lies. Once you start losing, you kick to the curb. They forgot all about you. Even if you do a pretty decent job and you don't make the playoffs, oh, you're probably out. So I want to say that because, we talk about, coaching and like it's seen sometimes as a glitz and glamour type of role. But in the WNBA, it's not good. I mean, the only real WNBA coaches that kind of I don't see ever going anywhere is number one, who I would consider the best head coach in the WNBA. That's Cheryl Reeve. Cheryl Reeve is the best head coach in the WNBA. I don't see her ever leaving. I don't see her going anywhere. She's gonna stay with the Minnesota Lynx probably until she wants to retire. I don't see her ever going anywhere. Now, also Becky Hammon. I don't see Becky Hammon going anywhere either. Another coach that I also think is an elite coach, and even if she did get fired, she would go somewhere else pretty easily, is the New York Liberty's head coach, right? Right. When we think about what Sandy Brondello has done in the WNBA, and we think about how she had a fantastic career with the Phoenix Mercury, ended up leaving there, went on over to the New York Liberty. If New York does not win a championship this year, maybe Sandy Brondello's on the chopping block. But even if that happens, another team is going to snatch her up really quick. So, I'm just saying. So yeah, guys, let's talk about who's in the market, at least who I believe is in the market right now. Let's talk about that. So in the market right now is of possible coaches to go on to one of these teams is Katie Smith. Katie Smith is a decorated former WNBA player, fantastic player, absolute legend. She is now the assistant. She's been the assistant coach, kind of like the head assistant coach for the Minnesota Lynx. I could absolutely see her leaving the Lynx and going to either an expansion team or going to one of the current teams that are looking for players, right? I could absolutely see that happening. Curt Miller, proven coach, right? He's done a lot of great stuff with Connecticut. He left Connecticut, went to LA. LA did not work out at all. He was not able to turn around that team. They actually got worse. So, yeah. So he's on the market. I think it's likely that he will get picked up for sure by somebody. Teresa Weatherspoon. Now, Teresa Weatherspoon, she's had 1 year with the Chicago Sky, got fired. I don't see her as a head coach in the WNBA with one of these teams that's in the market. The reason why is because if you get fired after your first year, I think it puts a target on the person's back, and it's way less likely that another team will hire them without being an assistant coach somewhere or trying to really rehabilitate her career, right? So I do think that we will see Teresa Weatherspoon back in the WNBA as an assistant coach somewhere, as an assistant coach, either with maybe the New York Liberty or the Aces, something like that. Like, I could see that happening, and then eventually her becoming a head coach again, eventually. But definitely, I wouldn't say in the next 2 years. I don't see that happening. We also have Tanisha Wright. Tanisha Wright had 3 years with the Atlanta Dream. Didn't really find any success, and she's in the market right now. So, is it likely that another team will pick her up? I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if she's able to get picked up by one of the teams that's looking right now. Now, the reason why I believe that Curt Miller is going to get another opportunity fast is because he has proven success with the Connecticut Sun. If all we had was what he did with the LA Sparks, then yeah, I wouldn't think that he would be getting a job anytime soon. However, I do believe that because of his success with the Sun, he's going to, make it happen and get another position pretty quickly. He's already, I believe he's already had interviews already, so he's going to be picked up pretty quickly. Rena Wakama. So Rena Wakama is a player, or is a coach, well, former player, now coach, that I believe a WNBA team needs to give her an opportunity. Now, guys, I put wild card here because I like her. I want her to have an opportunity. I don't know if it'll happen though. So Rena Wakama, for those who do not know, Rena was the head coach for the Nigerian national team in the Olympics. And Rena Wakama did a fantastic job as the head coach. She had a team that was not that great. No one expected them to really do anything in the Olympics. And right out the gate, they beat Australia. And they have tough games through the rest of the Olympics. This is a coach that I believe can make a fantastic head coach in the WNBA. Absolutely. Now, the thing about Rena Wakama, and the reason why I put her on this list, and you all may have heard my commentary about college coaches, and you're probably like, why are you putting her on the list? Isn't she a college coach? Yes, she is, but she is a college assistant coach right now. She is an assistant coach. And, you know, I do think that she could absolutely have a great opportunity in the WNBA. Right now, Rena Wakama is an assistant coach with Tulane. All right. She's an assistant coach with Tulane. And that's good and all, but Rena Wakama needs to be a head coach somewhere. Absolutely. And why not give her a head coach opportunity? Why not? The thing about the WNBA, the thing that is kind of an issue with the WNBA is that the WNBA recycles coaches. We see this, right? We see coaches get recycled and, you know, go to different places, right? You know, and that's fine and dandy, but at the same time, the WNBA needs new blood in the coaching sphere. We need new head coaches in the WNBA. We see coaches go from one team to the other, and I believe that we need some new faces as head coaches in the WNBA. New faces. And Rena Wakama is just that. Now, I would say that I would say that Rena Wakama, she for sure needs to be considering a college coaching job. So, you know, while if I'm a WNBA GM and if I'm in the front office of a WNBA team, I'm probably like, hey, let's look at what Rena Wakama could do. But if I'm Rena, I'm saying, you know what? No, thank you. Power 4 colleges. I am ready for offer. That's what I'm saying. If I'm her. If I'm Rena Wakama, I'm looking to be a head coach at a D1 Power 4 team. Not in a WNBA. But if I'm in the WNBA and if I'm leading a team, I'm looking at Rena Wakama. Absolutely I'm doing that. Also Stephanie White. I put Stephanie White on the list because technically she's not done with the Connecticut Sun yet, but she will be. Stephanie White is going to get picked up like that. Stephanie White is not going to be a free agent at all, really. I think she's going to go straight from announcement of her leaving Connecticut straight into a announcement of her new position somewhere else. I think she's going to be gone fast. I could absolutely see Stephanie White going to the Chicago Sky. I could see her going to the LA Sparks. Like I could absolutely see that. But the thing to note, guys, if you could please keep Stephanie White and her family in your prayers. She did her exit interview. I believe it was yesterday, and she did it late because she said there's like some stuff happening with her family right now. So if y'all could please pray for Stephanie White. I don't know what's going on, but it seems very like serious. And so please keep Stephanie White in your prayers because likely, we won't hear anything for a while about where she's going to go, mainly because she's wrapped up in dealing with whatever is happening with her family. So please keep her in your prayers. Finally, I'm saying Carolyn Peck. Carolyn Peck is another sort of not a wild card per se, but I think it's going to take a lot for Carolyn Peck to come in to be a head coach in the WNBA. I think it's going to say a whole lot. A whole lot. Also shout out to Will, who just became a member of the channel. Thank you so much, Will. Really do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for joining us over here. Says Will just became a channel member. Appreciate you, Will. Carolyn Peck would be a really good head coach. I mean, she was a head coach before. She won an NCAA championship, has been doing the commentary thing for a long time. If you hear her talk on WNBA Countdown, if you hear her talk just in interviews and whatnot, and you hear her talk about the game, that lady knows a lot. However, it's going to take a lot of money to get Carolyn Peck to go to the WNBA and be a head coach. A lot. She has a really good gig right now playing as an analyst for the WNBA with ESPN. She has a really good gig. And it's going to take a lot of moolah to get her to move over. Now, would she do a good job? I think so. But yeah, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of money. Okay. So I put her on the list because, it's a fun thing that people talk about. And she told, I think, what did she tell people on when people were asking about the LA role, and she's like, well, tell them to call me or something like that. She'll entertain it, I'm sure, but it's gonna take a lot of money. It's gonna take a lot of money. Robert, I think you're right. Robert says pay her that Becky Hammon money. I think they would have to. I think a team would have to get Carolyn Peck. Now the only thing is, why would she want to leave? I don't know. I don't know why she would leave. If I was her, I'd probably just stay where I'm at. FM says coaching, too much stress. In TV, you never lose. Facts. Facts, you never lose on TV. Yeah, and she could just talk. And also, while she has been a very proven coach, absolutely, she also hasn't coached in a really long time. So while you would need to give her the bag for her to even consider, you also have to think about the fact that there would be a learning curve because yes, she's a proven coach, but she hasn't coached in forever. And so the game has changed and the way that you coach has changed. So it's two factors. You got to pay her a lot. And also you got to think about the fact that, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for her. Not a learning curve to coaching in general, because she has coached in a long time. But the idea that it may take some time. So I'm just saying. And then I did the ... because you just never know. I don't this is one of those things where I'm interested to hear what you all have to say. I'm interested to hear what you all have to say in terms of other coaches that you all think should be the new head coach for Chicago, for Atlanta, for LA, for Dallas. Who's going to be the new head coach for these teams? Who do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. Will says, Carolyn gives excellent commentary. I've enjoyed the ESPN coverage. Yeah, I think she does a great job on ESPN. Let's see. Julio says Chicago doesn't know what it wants. Chicago doesn't know what it wants at all. At all. At all. Chicago has no idea. Has no idea. Kojo says this is a lot of coaching turnover in the W, though. It is. It's a whole lot because they're in win now mode. So the thing is, there is a lot of money being poured into the WNBA right now. We have seen a lot of money being poured in terms of the media rights deal, in terms of ticket sales, in terms of merch sales. All that stuff is happening right now, and ownership groups are in a panic because they're like, man, we need to capitalize right now. This is the time to get the bag when it comes to women's basketball, and we need to put the best product on the court. And that means that we're going to be changing. There's going to be a lot of changes for head coaches. If you show that you cannot win, you're out the door. You're gone. Because it's a money game. It's a money game, and who can get to the money faster? And the best way to get to the money is to have a winning season, to make it far in the playoffs. So that's the thing. And also, you want to make sure that fans are liking what they're seeing. Do you expect fans to renew their season tickets after you've raised the prices on them for the following season, and you have a terrible record? Probably not. So ownership groups are like, you know what? We need to change. Let's change out some stuff because we have a golden opportunity right now. A golden opportunity. So I just think that that's something that we're going to continue to see. And next year. And also, guys, the thing to note, the announcements I don't think are over. I don't think the announcements are over about coaches leaving. So we'll probably see the Stephanie White announcement pretty soon. Will there be another announcement for another head coach for the WNBA? Possibly. We'll see. We'll ultimately see what happens. But yeah, that's the stream, guys. I mean, it's kind of bleak. If you are a person who wanted to coach in the WNBA, to be honest with you, if I wanted to coach in the WNBA, I'd be like, I don't think so. I'm gonna give it a couple more years. I'm gonna give it a couple more years. Jenny on Twitter says this is wild. How does the WNBA expect to fill all these coaching jobs? Well, you're gonna fill it with maybe some lesser known college coaches, some assistant coaches in the WNBA. We're gonna see some international coaches come on over and coach. That's what we're gonna see. That's what we're gonna see. And we'll see the results of it. It could very well be that after next year, in October, we are doing the same thing, where there's another batch of head coaches that have gotten fired. Because again, you gotta think about it. It's a money game. The money is pouring into the WNBA, and all teams are looking to capitalize now. But the tough part about only having 12 teams in your league, you're going to see that turnover, because it's not a crazy amount of spots. So like somebody's going to be bad. A good amount of somebody's going to be bad. So I'm just saying. Con Landing says Crystal Robinson, Rebecca Brunson, and Chrissy Tolliver should be contenders for these WNBA job openings. Now, for sure. I mean, of that list, for sure, Chrissy Tolliver, for sure. But the thing is, why would she? Again, two perspectives. If I'm Christy, I'm an assistant coach right now for the Phoenix Mercury. Do I want to roll the dice on going for a new head coaching gig in 2025, or do I want another year of being an assistant coach underneath my belt and then try to put my name in the hat for 2026? Like, I think that's a thing, because I'm pretty sure Chrissy saw what happened to Teresa Weatherspoon about her getting fired after 1 year, and she probably doesn't want that, I'm sure, you know? So that's it's kind of the thought process right there. But yeah, there are a lot of assistant coaches in the WNBA who absolutely could get that, get an opportunity to be a head coach. But also, I really do think that the WNBA should be looking outside of the league. The LA Sparks have hired a international firm to actually help them in their coach searching process. So we'll see. We will absolutely see. Arden says, at least Natalie was told she has to win within 5 years. That's more job security than most of these WNBA coaches. Yeah. And I'm all for, when coaches get hired, for teams to be as upfront with them as possible. So if the number is 5 years, you got to win a championship. Okay, bet that's my job. You know, whatever the timeline is, even if it's 1 year, even if it's 1 year, you know, you got to tell the coaches so that they know and they can move accordingly. I think that's a huge thing. That is a huge thing. Let's see what y'all have to say. Also, a thing to note, I see it in the chat. I saw it for a hot second. Let me see if I can find it again. I saw a great comment about, there we go. Kelly, thank you so much for this comment. Yeah, Kelly says that Katie Smith was a assistant coach for the Liberty and didn't do well after 2 seasons. That is correct. Yes. Katie Smith was the head coach for the New York Liberty. All right. She was a player who was in the WNBA for a long time. She was an assistant coach for the New York Liberty, and then she became the head coach in 2018. You are correct, Kelly. It did not work out very well at all for her. And she ultimately, got fired and then went over to the Minnesota Lynx to become an assistant coach. So yes, she has tried her hand at being a head coach in the WNBA before. That is absolutely something to note. But times change, and we'll ultimately see what happens. But guys, if you're curious to hear how New York did in her first season with New York, they had 7 wins, 27 losses, and in that second year, we saw them have in 2019, we saw the New York Liberty have 10 wins and 24 losses. So yes, she has tried her hand at being a head coach in the WNBA. It went really, really poorly, but times change, and I think the idea of failing as a head coach, becoming an assistant coach to a really, really good head coach allows you to get better. And I think that's what Katie Smith has done, and I would love to see another opportunity. Give her a year, give her 2, see if she can make something work. If not, then maybe some people are just meant to be assistant coaches. But she for sure is doing a good job as an assistant coach. De Jour says Coach White to Chicago. I would love that. Brandon, thank you so much for the super chat. Says thanks for all you do, Quita. Well, I appreciate you. Brandon. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really do appreciate it so much. You guys are rock stars. The fact that like y'all are watching right now and like some of y'all got work to do. I took off today, so I don't have work to do, but you know. but some of y'all do, and the fact that y'all are joining me, I appreciate it. Yeah, I really do appreciate it so much. If y'all could, please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. That really does help the channel out a whole lot, guys. And apologies for the start of the stream. I mentioned that 41% of WNBA head coaches were fired. I was in my head, I was thinking that it was 5 and the number was 5 coaches gone instead of 4 because the news has not been officially made about Stephanie White yet. So that's why I kind of had her in my mind. So right now it is 4 head coaches that got fired this offseason. All right, it's 4 head coaches. We will see Stephanie White. The news for that kind of come pretty soon. Okay. But again, the Atlanta Dream are looking for a new head coach. The Chicago Sky are looking for a new head coach. The Dallas Wings, as of today, is looking for a new head coach. And the LA Sparks is also looking for a new head coach. That has to get wrapped up pretty soon. Pretty soon. All right. Man, it's a lot of stuff happening. Kojo says today is bring Quita to work day. That is funny. That is funny. All right. BBCL says, why do black coaches get a shorter leash and blackball faster in this league versus the white coaches being recycled? Quita, answer me. All caps. I don't know. I don't. Maybe you all may not like this question. I mean, maybe y'all might not like this response to me, from me. But I don't think it has to do with race at all. Actually, I don't. I don't think it has to. I think that you may be specifically talking about the Teresa Weatherspoon thing. I don't think it was because Teresa Weatherspoon was black. I think that I think it's Chicago Sky incompetence. To be honest with you, I think it's Chicago Sky incompetence. Basically all the head coaches for the Chicago Sky have been black. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think that was a factor at all. And Tanisha Wright's firing, I don't think that has to do with race at all. I don't. The reason why I believe Kurt Miller will have an opportunity faster than Tanisha Wright and Teresa Weatherspoon is simply for the fact of what he did with the Connecticut Sun. It's not the fact of like who he is or whatever. It's the fact that with the Connecticut Sun, he proved that he could win games. He was very successful with the Connecticut Sun. And then he left. And then he went to LA and he floundered. Totally floundered. So yeah, if you're just looking at what he did with the LA Sparks and if all he had as a coaching pedigree, was the LA Sparks, I wouldn't see him getting a job as a head coach soon. I think it's solely because of what he did with Connecticut that will give him his next opportunity Not at all what he did with LA, because it was not good. Not good. Yeah, so that's, I don't know. Like I'm not, yeah, y'all probably don't like that response. I really don't think it, like, Chicago's incompetent, and Atlanta, while the Dream did make the playoffs, they still have not fully figured out a way to master the talent that they have. You have Ryan Howard, who is an extremely talented player. You have Alicia Gray, who's extremely talented, and while you've made the playoffs, there hasn't been, I think, as much movement as I imagine the front office for Atlanta wants. So that's why they're getting rid of her. So that's my sort of thoughts right there. I don't know. I'm probably not the right person to ask about race questions, because I probably won't answer in a way that anybody likes. So yeah. That's my thoughts right there. If y'all have a question, and there's a lot of stuff happening in the chat, like literally, so many questions, so much stuff that's popping up in the chat. So if I don't see y'all question or whatever, just post it again, and I will hopefully see it. All right. BBCL says Kurt Miller and Reese won't jail. I can tell you now, definitely not bringing Kurt Miller and expected to keep Kennedy after the LA debacle. I am of the mind that Kennedy Carter is always gone. I think she's gone from the Chicago Sky. I think Jeff Pagliacca, unfortunately, has shown that he is not interested in Kennedy Carter. When he was asked previously about Kennedy Carter, he said, we will have discussions with her when the time is right, or something to that effect. The idea that your best player, the player who led the team in scoring, the player who was probably the best correlation to winning and losing, whether or not she was on the court, that player, you don't re-sign her during the season. I don't think that the Chicago Sky, I don't know if it's ownership, I don't know if it's just Jeff or what, but they have zero interest in Kennedy Carter. I think it's ridiculous. If I'm a head coach, if I'm a GM, Kennedy Carter is on my list of players to try to get. Absolutely. And the fact that the Chicago Sky, your best player, by far, your best player, and you don't re-sign them, and then when you're asked about it, you say you're gonna talk, you're gonna talk to her and her people or whatever when the time is right. That's a problem. that is a problem. So that's why if Kurt Miller becomes the head coach of the Chicago Sky, it has no bearing on Kennedy Carter, because Kennedy Carter wasn't returning anyway, because clearly Jeff Pagliacca is not interested. Clearly. So also the idea that Kurt Miller wouldn't work with Angel Reese, Kurt Miller would work with Angel Reese. They would work out really well, because want to know why? Kurt Miller had a really good relationship with De'Arica Hamby. Really good relationship. Do you want to know who's one of Angel Reese's WNBA moms? De'Arica Hamby. So I don't think there will be any issue between Kurt Miller and Angel Reese at all. The Kennedy Carter ship has sailed, because clearly Jeff isn't interested, which is ridiculous. Not smart, in my opinion, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that front. So yeah. Pushin says Jeff doesn't know what he's doing. I don't know. It could be that he has this grand plan. It could be that he has this grand plan for the Chicago Sky, and it'll take a couple years to percolate, and it'll happen, right? I don't know. He's still the GM for the Sky, so I'm rooting for his success. I disagree with the decision to not re-sign Kennedy Carter. I disagree with the decision to get rid of Teresa Weatherspoon. However, maybe there's a grand plan that I don't see. We'll see. Time will tell. Ultimately, you will see the results, right? You will see the results. So yeah, that's my thing right there. That is my thing right there. Let's see. Thanks so much, Brandon, for the super chat. Says, didn't Miller have a big hand in AT's development? I mean, AT was already really good when she played for Maryland. I do believe that Kurt Miller did have a role to play in Alyssa Thomas's continued development in the WNBA. I do. Now, I have not, and maybe I can do that. I have not looked into commentary from Alyssa Thomas to sort of see what she has to say about like her development under Kurt Miller. But I do think that that he had a role to play in it for sure. But also the type of player that one thing is for sure, Kurt Miller created a system around Alyssa Thomas that allowed the flourishing of Alyssa Thomas's game, considering her limitations. Now, what Alyssa Thomas does in the system that she runs, I mean, it's largely Stephanie White. It's what Stephanie White has been doing with the Connecticut Sun for the last 2 years. In large parts, it's still heavily based off of what was already created by Kurt Miller when he was there, right? They created a system that allowed Alyssa Thomas to be one of the best players in the WNBA, right? And Stephanie White, I think, just took it a little bit further. But like that overall system, I do think was started by Kurt Miller, I believe. But again, that was just a question, and I'm just sort of like from my memory, just sort of like coming up with the answer. Like I would need to really say that with like 100% like conviction. I would need to like go back and see if Alyssa Thomas has ever talked about the topic before. All right, let's see what else y'all have to say. Road 2 says, oh wow, didn't know Kennedy didn't get re-signed. Eek, yeah, she didn't. She did not get re-signed. She did not get re-signed. Pushing P says the Sky want to win, but want to hire a coach that showed he can't coach a young and developing team. Yeah, yeah. I think that's the possible issue with getting Kurt Miller with the Chicago Sky. Like I could see it working. Like I think he could gel, but it's the reason why he floundered with LA was because his recognition of the young talent that he had and developing them. Like what he did with Rickea Jackson and not playing Rickea Jackson early in the season was flat out ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Because we saw in those small little moments when Rickea Jackson would get in the game, we saw automatic spark. We saw, like, no pun intended, spark, but we saw a change. We saw her get buckets. You know, we saw her just be really good out there, and then she would get put back on the bench. You know, and this is a problem, right? And if I am if I'm a team that's looking to hire Kurt Miller, I'm saying, hey, Kurt, what response you got for what happened with your team specifically this year? Why weren't you playing Rickea Jackson early? I know you had veterans, but the veterans wasn't cutting it. The veterans were not cutting it. And yes, you had Cameron Brink, but Cameron Brink got hurt early. And there was not as much of a pivot that needed to have been made. So if I'm looking at him as the head coach, I'm talking about that. I'm saying, hey, you need to assure me that what you did with LA, you're not gonna do with my team. You know, if I'm like a GM or whatever, I'm talking to him. That's what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. Quintus says, "What if this guy took Miller as head coach and kept Teaspoon as assistant coach? Teaspoon will never engage with the Chicago Sky ever again. They did her wrong. I don't believe Teaspoon will engage with the Sky ever again. I wouldn't. You fired me after my first year. After I took a team that was projected before the season started, just looking at the roster of the team, I took a team that was projected to be 11th or 12th in the WNBA. We fought for a playoff spot. We made it in 9th place. We would have made the playoffs had Kennedy Carter not had a crazy I think it was like COVID related illness and missed several games. And if Angel doesn't have that wrist injury at the end of the season, the Sky would make the playoffs. So if I'm Teresa Weatherspoon, I'd be like, forget you. Y'all did me wrong. I'm not engaging with y'all. Cause who's to say y'all not gonna do it again? You know, you fool me once. You know, shame on you. You fool me twice. That's on me. So I don't think she puts herself in that position for that to happen again. I don't think we'll see that. Thank you so much, Veronica, for the super chat. Says, I have learned so much from you. You are awesome. Well, you are awesome, Veronica. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being an awesome person of the internet, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you to HAPS for the super sticker. It is a pixelated hippo. Chomps on a 1-up. Okay, I appreciate it. I love the descriptions of these super stickers. K half fan. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says, well, if Kennedy is gone from the Sky, I'm all with Teaspoon and Kennedy going to the Aces. I mean, I could see that being fire. Kennedy Carter on the Aces. I mean, you'd have to get rid of probably Kelsey Plum to make that happen. I would think you'd have to get rid of Kelsey Plum. I don't see the Aces ever getting rid of Jackie Young. I don't see that happening. But yeah. Let's see. Nola says, has a rookie under contract ever been traded? Yes. Now the follow-up to that is who? I can't remember off the top of my head, but I believe there have been several rookies that have been traded. So I'd have to do research. Like, I remember a lot of stuff, but I don't remember that, so I don't know. I don't know. King Pisces says, the only question I have for you, Quita, is what is Dwayne Wade's role with the Sky team? He seemed to take a backseat to all the turmoil that's going on instead of putting a stop to the mess. Well, one, I don't think he has that big of an ownership stake. So yeah. I don't think he has that much of a ownership stake in the Sky. And so like the bigger portion you have, the more say you have. I don't know if he has a crazy amount of say. And also, even if he does, I don't know if he wants to use it. And also, even if he does, I don't know if he knows what to do either. Just because you have found success in one avenue of life does not mean you know what you're doing in another avenue. Yes, he was a fantastic basketball player. Absolutely. Hall of Famer, for sure. Yes, he is an owner of, I believe, he's an owner of a couple of things right now, including the Chicago Sky. So yes, business wise, he seems to know when to invest in stuff. But in terms of him like making decisions and whatnot, and like being in charge of a team, that don't mean he's good at that. I think he's an investor. I think he's just an investor. Like he invests it in the team, and that's about it. You know, he wants to get his name in the hat and to be able to reap the rewards that will be coming for women's basketball. And I think he wants to have a little bit of say so every now and then, but not much. I think it's just an investment. I think it's just an investment for him. So yeah. Yeah, Rena. He is a part owner of the Utah Jazz as well. Yep. All right, look at the people giving some facts in the chat. BBCL says Latoya Thomas was the number 1 pick and traded during her rookie contract to Detroit, where she phased herself out of the league. All right. So yeah, let's see what else y'all got to say. Natasha says, do you think they'll trade Angel? No, unless she really, really, really wants to leave. Lil Panda says, do you think Chrissy Sides will be gone because of the new GM? No. Like I know people are, keep saying that they want, some people say that they want Chrissy Sides gone. I don't see Chrissy Sides going anywhere this year, at least. I think if next year, if the Fever don't make it further than the first round in the playoffs, I think she'll be gone. But I really, yes, they have a new GM and there's been a lot going on. I've been very busy, so I've been meaning to make a video about their new GM. Hopefully I'll be able to do it pretty sometime soon. But I don't think that the new GM gets rid of Chrissy Sides. At least right now. At least right now. B-Girl says, Quiddy, you should predict the 6 core players for each team ahead of the expansion draft. That would be interesting. I will be doing that before the expansion draft. Yep. I will be doing that, which is, a little whiles away. A little whiles away. Official says, how do you feel about the buzz of Kim Mulkey going to Chicago? There's buzz about Kim Mulkey going to Chicago as the head coach or just visiting? Whatever buzz is around Kim Mulkey going to the Chicago Sky, which I haven't seen any, but if there is that, I think it's delusional, guys. Kim Mulkey is getting paid a boatload of money. A boatload. Why in the world would she leave that to go to the unpredictable, indecisive WNBA? Why would any of the top coaches in women's college basketball, why would any of them go? They basically have tenure where they're at. I have not heard anything about Kim Mulkey going to Chicago because that's crazy. Like it makes absolutely no sense. The WNBA, no WNBA team has the money to pay Kim Mulkey what LSU is paying her. No one has it. Same thing with Don Staley. Same thing with Gino Auriemma. Like, they ain't going nowhere. And if they do go somewhere, they going to another college. They ain't going to the WNBA. If they go somewhere, they either going to another college for more money or maybe the NBA. But no, I haven't heard that at all. So I don't know. Maybe I'm out of the loop, but I haven't heard that. So that's crazy talk to me. I think that is crazy talk. Yeah, no. She's not going anywhere, okay? Okay. Waterfall says Kim Mulkey is not going to Chicago. Laughing emojis. Kim Mulkey is training her replacement, Simone Augustus. I think she is. I think Simone Augustus is going to be the future head coach of LSU. I think that's why Kim Mulkey brought her in as an assistant coach. I think that Simone Augustus, they honored her last year. Simone Augustus is going to be the future head coach of LSU. I believe she will be. So yeah. Let's see. Mikhail says, personally, Quita, I think the Fever are going in a different direction with the head coach. I don't think they're going to keep Sides as head coach, maybe a lesser role. I mean, we'll see. But I really don't see her leaving. After they had a lot of success this season. Like I don't see Christy Sides going anywhere. If she goes anywhere this year, I'm shocked. Next year, yeah, if they don't go further than the first round, yeah, I could see her going. But I think she's done enough, more than enough, actually, to keep her job. Like I don't think she should. But again, I also thought that Teresa Weatherspoon, should have kept her job too, and she got fired. So who knows? This is the WNBA we talking about, okay? This is the WNBA. We talking about. So sometimes what teams do is not always logical. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Richard says WNBA only shot is to get an up-and-coming coach with recent ties to the league like Kara Lawson. Yeah, but Kara Lawson, she's at Duke. Or I'm sorry. Why would Kara Lawson? Why would she come to the WNBA? She has a great gig at Duke. One, I think Kara Lawson is a really, really good coach. And I can't wait to see what she does with Duke this year. I think she is really, really good. I think she has a talented squad this year. She's not going anywhere. No, definitely not the WNBA. No, she has a head coaching job. She has a head coaching job with a Power 4 team. Why would she go anywhere? Why? I'm just saying. I am just saying. Let's see. Lindy says, I would love to see Nancy Lieberman coach. It seems like nowadays Nancy Lieberman, isn't she still a coach for the Big Three? She was a head coach for the Big Three, Ice Cube's league. So I isn't she still there? I think she's still there. I don't see her going to coach the WNBA. I don't see it personally. But who knows? Who ultimately knows? Yeah, I think she's still a head coach for the Big Three. Um, all right, let's get to these super chats. Brandon, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, I think Spoon is going to be Becky's assistant coach. I think so too. Yeah. I could see her being an assistant coach for the Aces because of the connection she has with Becky Hammon. I could also see her being an assistant coach for the New York Liberty because like she had a huge career with the New York Liberty. Even one of the legendary heave hoes in WNBA finals history, right? In the yeah. So yeah. I'm sorry, it was WNBA playoffs. I don't know if it was the WNBA finals. Definitely WNBA playoffs. But anyway, I could see her going to the New York Liberty as well because of what she means to that franchise, right? Brandon says, your prediction on Kelsey Mitchell, core and stay or core and trade? Core and stay. Yeah. It's become extremely apparent, like with like what the GM's comments around Kelsey Mitchell, to Kelsey Mitchell hanging out with Caitlin at a Pacers game. Like Kelsey Mitchell, core and stay. Yeah, she's staying for sure. She's staying. She is absolutely staying. It's just a matter of time before they make it official. Yeah, she's. At first, I thought, she's gonna explore. She said she was looking forward to exploring free agency and all that stuff. But yeah, she's. I think she's for sure staying. I think she's for sure staying now. CAC is saying that Sue Bird answered what? Said she needed a break because being a player and a coach is a lot of work. When you retire, I went away. Darn it. Well, it went away, and I can't find the comment anymore. Well, I guess are people saying that? Are people suggesting Sue Bird to be a head coach? Is that what people are saying? I mean, she has like the podcasting thing down. I don't know. Like, I think if you're in media and whatnot, and you got that stuff down pat. Like, I don't know. Why would you want to coach? I don't know. And if she did coach in the WNBA, it would have to be the Seattle Storm. Like, I couldn't see her doing anything with any other team. It would have to be the Seattle Storm. Waterfall says, is it like an autocorrect that like makes my name Quinta? Is it an autocorrect that adds an N to my name? Says Liberty is playing with a chip on their shoulder. If the Liberty wins the championship, part of the victory will be redemption for Teaspoon. Are you saying that like they have Teresa Weatherspoon in their minds and they're gonna win it for her? If so, I don't think so. I think they winning it for themselves. I don't think this has any. I don't think if they win the championship today or on Sunday, whichever one, which I do think they're gonna win. I don't see the Lynx actually winning it, but we'll see. We'll see. I I don't think they care. To be quite honest with you, I think the only thing they care about is the players on the current roster and what's happening right now. Like I don't think they're playing for Teresa Weatherspoon at all. I think they are trying to win it for themselves. I think they trying to win it for themselves, and the fact that organization has never won a championship. That's why they winning it. They winning it for pride, for the pride of just knowing that you the best. That's why. I don't know. I don't think it has anything to do with Teresa Weatherspoon. They last year they made the super team last year. They made it to the finals. They got demolished by Sydney Colson and Kayla George. That's why they playing the way they playing this year. That's why you see Brianna Stewart say, "We're not going to lose. We bet not lose." That's why. It has nothing to do with Teresa Weatherspoon. It's the fact that they got embarrassed last year. Embarrassed. It was embarrassing. Like my dad say. It was embarrassing. And that's why they playing the way they playing. I don't think it has anything to do with Teresa Weatherspoon. I don't think they care. Right now, in this exact moment, I don't think they care. All right. Sam says, I'm still holding on to hope for my Lynx, but it's not really looking good. Yeah. I mean, good luck to you, but I don't know. To be honest with you guys, coming into this finals, I thought that coming into the playoffs, I thought it was going to be the New York Liberty winning the whole thing. Like I still haven't changed that. I do think that the New York Liberty are going to win. I just think they're the better team, and the better team wins. Now Minnesota has played a heck of a season. A heck of a season. They have done a phenomenal job. They really have. They've played way better than what others, myself included, thought they were going to do. They have. And so yeah. So yeah, that's a thing. Rachel says, well, we've been streaming for a minute. Yeah. Oh, wow. An hour and 27 minutes. Okay, guys. Yeah. I didn't realize I was, see, that's the thing. When I hop on these lives, sometimes I have to, if I need to get off a live quick, I can't pay attention to the chat. Cause once I look at the chat, guys, time just becomes a non-factor, and I just go and go and go and go and go. And I look up and I'm like, whoa, hours have passed. so that's why the stream I did this morning, that's why it was so short. Cause I only looked at the chat like 2 times the whole stream. Cause y'all be going and it gets me like super engaged, and I like don't pay attention to the time and like all that stuff. So like, thank y'all for rocking with me. Thank y'all for posting in the chat. Thank y'all for just sort of being awesome people. Guys, I call you all the awesome people on the internet because that's what we are. We are people who love the game of women's basketball. We are people who sometimes get a little rowdy, but ultimately just want to grow the game and want to showcase the teams and players that we enjoyed the most. So whether or not you are an old fan that's been around for forever, whether or not you a new fan, whether or not you are a jump rope fan, a fan that was in and then got out and now you're back in again. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you got here. The fact is that you are here, and I am happy that you are here, guys. You all know that this content here, it's not like everybody else. It's not. I truly love the game of women's basketball, truly do, and I truly want everybody to succeed. Like, and like when I say this, like I think sometimes people like don't believe me or whatever, but like I personally don't care the ultimate results of WNBA games and whatnot. I don't care. I don't care who wins, who loses. Of course, if the Chicago Sky are playing, I want the Chicago Sky to win. But more than that, more than that, I just want the game to grow. I want women's basketball as a whole to grow. So whether that's the WNBA, whether that's unrivaled, whether that's women's college basketball, I love women's basketball. That's my thing. And I don't care ultimately what happens on the court. I want to be entertained. I want to enjoy what's going on. And if anybody's playing women's basketball, I'm probably going to be there because that's my thing. I will be covering European basketball. I have videos that are in my head. I have a lot of videos in my head around EuroLeague, around Euro Cup, around the Chinese basketball league and whatnot. Guys, there's so much stuff in my head. So many videos. Like I literally have I use OneNote, and I have a OneNote sheet of like 20 or 30 video ideas that I want to make like now. But I don't have time to make it all. I don't have time. But I want to. There's so much stuff regarding even just the Chicago Sky specifically, like Camilla and her going to China and like what she's gonna do there, the team that she's playing on, what's gonna happen on that front, like the history of WNBA players in China and how the Chinese league for not even American players, for WNBA players has really become a post-heavy type of thing where you don't really see that many WNBA guards play in China, but you see a lot of post players. Like there is a reason for that, and I want to get into that, but like there's so much stuff I want to do and just so little time. Like it's annoying how like there's only 24 hours in a day. That's all there is. Only 24 hours. All right. BBCL says the new commissioner is business only, not a players commissioner, but straight business. And she's doing her dang thing. Shout out to Kathy E. Y'all, shout out to Kathy E. Y'all, I have known of Kathy Engelbert since she was with Deloitte. And when she became the CEO of Deloitte, which is a huge, huge firm, worldwide firm, they billions and billions of dollars, percolates around Deloitte. When she became the CEO of that organization, I was like, whoa. And I would see some of the stuff that she would say and how Deloitte, they're organizations that's always growing, but they had a lot of a good amount of growth, a substantial amount of growth during her tenure as CEO. And when she was announced as the new head honcho of the WNBA, when she was announced as a new head honcho, I knew it was a big deal. Like I was like, man, this lady is business. And that is exactly what the WNBA needs. I think the WNBA, this is no shade to the previous leadership of the WNBA, but I don't think we've ever had a business mind the way we have it in Kathy Engelbert. Like we don't, right? We've had lots of people who had stuff to offer, but there is a business sense and a connection that she has with the business community that is crazy. Because guys, remember when she became the new commissioner, or the first ever commissioner for the WNBA, Deloitte ended up becoming a major sponsor of the WNBA. Ended up being a major sponsor. She has gotten, she led that group of investors to invest more in the WNBA. She, the media rights deal, like all this, like there's been so, like the CBA, the initial CBA that was put out there, like there's been so much stuff that she has done. Yes. Does she still have work to do? Absolutely. She's very, very business, not as much of a sort of players commissioner, more of a business commissioner. And to me, to be quite honest with you, the WNBA needs that, I believe. So yes, Is she the best right now? Yes, I do believe so. Is she perfect? No, she's not. I think sometimes some of the comments she makes is like, could have worded it different. But again, she's business, not so much cultural, right? And so there's some missteps that she makes, right? There are, and you got to take the good with the bad. And I think there's way more good than bad. So that's why, personally, I am a huge fan of Kathy Engelbert. I really am. I think what she has done is set the WNBA on a footing that will allow the WNBA to actually make a profit. The WNBA has been floundering, or not floundering, has been losing money for a long time, right? They're just still not going to make a profit after this year. At least that's what people are saying, right? But I think she is narrowing the gap of how short the WNBA is, right? And it's because of her business connections. It's because of the way she talks to business people to get them to see that the WNBA is a good vehicle for investment. Not just that, you're looking to do a good deed, you're looking to do a good deed and let's support the WNBA. No. She's saying no, it makes economic sense to support the WNBA. And she's able to back that stuff up. Like, I think that's what the WNBA needs. So yes, she's not the best in terms of sometimes she says stuff that's like, ugh, and sometimes players get mad at her for what she says or whatever. But dog, she's done so much great stuff for the league. And I'm happy she's the commissioner. I know some people are not, and y'all are welcome to y'all comments. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that front. Shout out to Tony. Y'all, shout out to Tony, who just became a member. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Shout out to the members of this channel. Really do appreciate you. Also, shout out to the fantastic people who are supporting this channel on Patreon. I really do appreciate it. There's folks supporting this channel every single month. Really do appreciate that. If y'all want to support me, y'all could either do that as a YouTube membership or on Patreon. Either way, it really does help the channel out a whole lot. Guys, I enjoy doing this stuff. I mean, maybe in the future I'll be, years down the line or whatever. If we can grow this into a thing, maybe I can be doing this full time where I'm doing this every single day and I'm doing live streams with y'all and whatnot. Maybe. That's going to take some years probably to build up, but that would be awesome. That would be really, really awesome. Really, really awesome. Goon says Kathy is not a good commissioner. She would have got the TNT deal before Unrivaled. Goon, what do you mean? She would have got the TNT deal. What are you talking about? The WNBA has a TNT deal. I mean, sorry, no, it doesn't. The WNBA has a new media rights deal that includes Amazon Prime. It includes NBC Universal. It includes ESPN. They have a huge deal with a lot of money, with way more money than what TNT is giving Unrivaled. Unrivaled, I'm happy for that deal. I think it's fantastic. I got a video that I was planning to make instead of this one. I have a video that I was planning to make about that deal and about how great that deal is for Unrivaled. I think it's huge. But in no way should you think that TNT is giving Unrivaled anything close to what ESPN, Amazon Prime, and NBC Universal is giving the WNBA. Not anywhere close. So because the WNBA does not have a deal with TNT, that does not make Kathy Engelbert a bad commissioner. So maybe we'll just have to agree to disagree on that part. So yeah. That's my thoughts on that. Waterfall says W needs better marketing. Team times have changed. Yes. And also, the WNBA marketing has gotten better. The WNBA used to have one marketing person. Now I think they have closer to 20 marketing people. Does their marketing still need to get worked on? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I feel like my role kind of here is also to acknowledge what's happening now, but also kind of put it in perspective. Like, this is the best WNBA marketing that we've really ever seen. There's actual people who have full-time jobs where their job is WNBA marketing. Whereas in the past, there was only one job, only one person handled marketing for the WNBA in the past. And so like we are way better. Are we where we should be? No, I don't think. But like way better, like way better than how it used to be. Way better, way better. So, acknowledge what's happening right now, but also put it in perspective. Also put it in perspective as well. That this is way better than before. Yeah, it's way better than 5 years ago. Yes, absolutely. Shree says, "Wow, I can and cannot believe Dallas fired their coach. I'm late to the party. LOL." Yeah, that was the initial reason for this stream. The initial reason for this stream was to let you all know that the Dallas Wings have fired head coach Latricia Trammell. She spent 2 years as the head coach for the Dallas Wings. Before that, she was an assistant coach with the LA Sparks. She is as just the fourth coach this year to get fired. Fourth coach this year to get fired. This has officially dropped from the Dallas Wings, and so let's go back to the actual conversation that we were supposed to be having. So sometimes we can get on a roll talking about stuff that is important, but also stuff that like was not the actual intention for the stream. and so yeah, let's go through it real quick. I want to show you all the press release that the Dallas Wings have put out there. I want to show you their press release. So just give me a hot second. Sorry guys, I am producing on the fly. So sometimes it takes me a little while to get this stuff in order. Because everything should be decent and in order. But sometimes it takes a little while. So thank you for your patience. I'm trying to pull up the press release that the Dallas Wings released about 50 something minutes ago. All right, here we go. Here is the press release that they released. It says 5:59 p.m. Is it 5:59 p.m. in like Texas or something? I don't think so. I don't know where it's the 5:59 p.m. at. But anyway, here's the press release that the Dallas Wings have put out. It says Dallas Wings president and CEO Greg Bibb announced the team has parted. Announced the team that parted ways with head coach Latricia Trammell. And he says, after an extensive review of our basketball operations department, which included interviews and conversations with stakeholders across our organization, I have made the decision to relieve Latricia Trammell of her head coaching duties with the Dallas Wings. On behalf of our entire organization, I thank Latricia for her efforts and wish her well moving forward. Latricia Trammell went 31-46 in 2 seasons with the Dallas Wings, including 2 for 3 in playoff appearances. In 2024, the Dallas Wings finished with a 9-31 record and in 11th place in the standings, missing the playoffs for the first time since 2020. Greg Bibb also says, in addition to a new head coach, the Wings will also hire a general manager. As part of our year-end review process and in conjunction with our organizational long-term strategic planning, I have decided to expand and strengthen our basketball operations through the hiring of a general manager who will oversee the day-to-day operations of our basketball group. The search for this individual has already begun, and I hope to have more news on this hire soon. The general manager will lead the search for the next head coach of the Dallas Wings. Now, I think that's a smart move that he's going to hire the general manager before he hires the head coach. This is something that usually is the case. You have the GM come in, decide on their player philosophy, on their coaching philosophy, and then hire a head coach in response to that. Someone who can sort of fulfill what that GM wants, right? This is something that did not happen for the Chicago Sky. For the Chicago Sky in 2023, when they were looking for a head coach and a GM, when after head coach and GM James Wade left, we saw them hire the head coach first, which was very unorthodox, very different. They hired the head coach in Teresa Weatherspoon first, then they hired the GM Jeff Pagliacca second. And at the time, they said they were doing things different and they were in lockstep and all this other stuff and everything was honky-dory, and then they fired the head coach. So clearly, that didn't work out well, and the GM's still there. So clearly that didn't work out well. So it's smart on Greg Bibb to make the decision to hire the GM first and have that person hire the head coach. So it's going to be a while, likely, before we see the new head coach for the Dallas Wings, because they're going to have to hire that GM first. I do anticipate likely that GM is going to have to be hired, I would say, by December. I would say that GM would have to get hired by December. The reason why I say that is because you need to have that GM in place before the expansion draft, so that way that GM can select who they want to the 6 players that they want to sort of restrict from the expansion draft. So that's something that's going to have to be solidified. So we're going to see this GM get hired, at the latest December, because they're going to have to be in place so they can make the decisions in relation to the expansion draft. Let's continue on to the last paragraph of the press release. Says, the investment in, this is Greg Bibb still talking, the president and CEO of the Dallas Wings. Greg Bibb said, the investment in human capital in our basketball group aligns with other long-term strategic investments we have been making in our organization, including our move to the city of Dallas, highlighted by a new practice facility and the renovated Dallas Memorial Coliseum. These investments will best position the Dallas Wings to continue to be a leader on and off the court as the team pursues WNBA championships while making a consistent positive impact in our community. It's kind of what I talked about earlier, right? The reason for moving on from for the Dallas Wings, it had to do with the fact that, one, the team needs to revamp. 2, in 2026, they are moving from the suburbs to the actual city. They will have a practice facility. They will have a new arena, and they're looking for a quality product to put on the court when that happens. All right. So that is the news, guys. That's the news. Latricia Trammell is out for the Dallas Wings. So yeah, that's the news, guys. That is the news. Yeah, that's the stream. Thank y'all for watching. I don't have anything else to talk about other than the fact that the finals is tonight. The finals is tonight, and I will be covering that. So it's at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be doing a live stream of that game. So y'all make sure y'all come on back as we do a play-by-play, talking through Game 4 of the WNBA Finals between the Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty. I do anticipate the Liberty to ultimately win it. Whether they win tonight or Sunday, I don't know. But yeah, we'll see what happens. We will absolutely see what happens. But I hope y'all join me here for a fun time as we sort of do play-by-play. We've been having some fun. We be having some fun with these play-by-plays. So yeah, that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing. We may end up I may end up putting out another video before the stream tonight. Right now I'm working on a video about Angel Reese and Asia Wilson. They were cover models for the Wall Street Journal magazine. And I've seen people cover it, but and maybe people have, and I just don't look at everything. But there was a reason why they were featured, why the WNBA was featured, and I want to go through why in the world the Wall Street Journal even featured them in the first place, and why they're calling the WNBA a sports innovator, and what's happening on that front. And also, I read the whole article. There's a lot of people who have talked about that situation, talked about the Wall Street Journal thing, and they have not read the article because the articles are behind a paywall, and people won't pay for it, but they'll comment on it. They'll read the first paragraph, I think, that you can see before you got to pay. And they make a video about it, and and then it goes around the whole world before people have actually read the thing. So I read it. I have actual commentary on it. And so yeah, I'm not sure if I'll put that out before today's video or after before today's live stream of the game, or if I'll put it out tomorrow. I'm not sure. But yeah, lots of videos that are coming from me. But I thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Guys, if y'all could please do me a huge favor and hit that like button. Hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button. If y'all could, tell a neighbor, tell a friend that Quita Loves Sports is on the internet, and she talking about women's basketball. And it is interesting, somewhat, I guess. Hopefully, it's interesting. And share it with people. Share it with people. Tell people what I'm all about. Share this. Yeah, it really does help the channel out a whole lot. Lil says the Wall Street Journal article has a lot of people on fire, LOL, and a lot of people didn't even read it. I think a huge portion of the people who are on fire about it did not even read it. But we gonna talk about it though. We gonna talk about it. But again, appreciate y'all, and I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Until next time, guys. Bye bye.